Presentation 5. This training program is based on the Registered Behavior Technician task list and is designed to meet the 40-hour training requirement for the RBT credential. This program is offered independent of the BACB. Today we're going to be talking about professionalism and what that means as an RBT. Confidentiality. So what is confidentiality? This is when we're going to be ensuring that what we do with our patients remains only with that patient and in their home or within that team. So to maintain confidentiality, we strive to be compliant with HIPAA. HIPAA stands for the Health, Insurance, Portability, and Accountability Act. The Health, Insurance, Portability, and Accountability Act. This was passed in Congress in 1996. HIPAA provides the ability to transfer and continue health insurance coverage for millions of American workers and their families when they change or lose their job, reduces healthcare fraud and abuse, mandates industry-wide standards for healthcare information on electronic billing and other processes, and requires the protection and confidential handling of protected health information. Under the privacy rule of HIPAA, all client information is confidential. When discussing clients' verbal or written communication, we will use their initials. We will treat all information about our clients with respect. We do not discuss client A at the home of client B. And I must say that even goes if the two clients know each other somehow. You never discuss client A at the home of client B. Do not leave team meeting notes or any other types of notes in any public place other than the client home. If you run into a client unexpectedly, such as at the grocery store or whatever, make sure that the family speaks to you first. Do not go running up to them, as the family may not want the child's diagnosis or their relation to you broadcast throughout the store. In order to speak to them, they should approach you first, and they should reveal the basis of your relationship themselves. Again, when it comes to confidentiality, it is best to be overzealous about it. Try not to talk about clients or patients anywhere else, but with the small team that you're working with. As far as email and social media go, do not discuss clients outside of work via email or any other social media platforms. Only discuss clients in work-related emails. Taking pictures or video of clients is only acceptable for work-related purposes. Only use your personal phone or camera with permission of the specialist or analyst, and you must delete them from your phone after you are done with them. It goes without saying that you should never post those pictures on stuff like Twitter or Facebook. You should not become friends, Facebook friends, or Twitter followers with patients or patients' families. Do not use your cell phone during the shift unless you are using it as a timer or calculator, or texting or calling the specialist or the office, or if you are on your break. You may use cell phones for videos or games at the discretion of the specialist. Remember, you are working with individuals that may have behavior issues, so if you use your own personal phone, you are risking breaking it, as the patient may throw it or drop it. Best practice is not to use your own cell phone or tablet. Best practice would be to use the family's if they use it for reinforcement. Because again, the patient may throw it or drop it or something like that, and you would be out of phone. So parents or guardians, you'll be working at home with your patients in several instances. For the parents or guardians, it is okay for them to go outside to get the mail or get something from their car, but it is never okay for them to drive away or be more than like half a block away. Parent should always, or guardian should always be present. The only exception is if the work is being at the clinic. Parents or guardians should not be sleeping while you're in the house. If they are taking a short nap, this is only acceptable if they are available in case of an emergency. It is not your job, though, as the RBT, to discuss this kind of stuff with the parents. If it is an issue, such as oversleeping during shift or parents being outside for too long, bring it up with your specialist or analyst. However, as an RBT, if a parent says they have to leave and the parent says that you can stay in the house, you must remind them as the RBT that you are not allowed to do that. And the parent or guardian must be present. If they still have to leave, tell them you will either wait out in your car or in the shift. And then inform the specialist or analyst for the case. As an RBT, you will strive to maintain professional relationships. This means you will do everything in your power to avoid dual relationships. It goes without saying that there should be no romantic relationships. Don't accept any type of gifts or stay for dinner. The only exception to staying for dinner would be if it's part of the child's or patient's programming. Typically, if that is the case, I will bring my own food. That is a very special circumstance, though. You must set boundaries. Remember, you are not a babysitter, counselor, financial consultant, or best friend. Try to keep the topics of discussion limited to the patient. Now, I know in real life this isn't always possible, but strive the best to do this the best way you can. And please, do not get the patient's phone number. You are not to call the patient, and they are not to call you or contact you. That is the job of the analyst or the specialist. As far as self-disclosure, try not to disclose too much. Of course, it is okay to become familiar and friendly with families, but not to the point that they know your address, your childhood history, or details of your love life. Also, avoid hot-button topics of discussion, such as politics. Remember, everyone has a right to their own views, but it can be damaging to a professional relationship if you discuss this with a parent or guardian and their views are different than yours. Remember, you are working for that patient. And if a family doesn't trust you or dislikes you because of something that you said, this will harm that professional relationship. So it is best to stay on topic, which is the topic of the patient. So setting up and finishing the shift. Arrival and departure. Setting up at the beginning of shift and transferring data back at the end of session should take 15 minutes maximum. Remember, we're there for the patient. We don't want to be dilly-daddling around. Do not arrive late or leave the home late. Be sure to clean up any materials that you use that day. These are all professional behaviors that we should strive to engage in while working with our patients. Currently at Learning Arts, we are setting some shifts up where you can arrive 10 minutes early and leave 10 minutes late, but that will be scheduled. Arriving late to shift. Now we know real life happens. We know there's traffic. Maybe a train gets stuck on the track or something. So if you know you're going to be late to a shift, who do you call? Typically you're going to want to call your specialist. If it's before 9 a.m. or after 6 p.m. If it is between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m., call the office. These numbers will be given to you at a later time during this training. Furthermore, if you do not have a hands-free device, please pull off to the side of the road or park somewhere before calling. Another professional behavior that you should engage in is to make sure that you clean as you go. In between each activity you do with the patient, you should clean up. As much as they can, have the patient help you clean up. This is both a valuable skill to teach them, and it helps them to develop a therapeutic rapport with you. It does not have to be difficult. You're going to tailor the cleanup demands for each patient. For example, you might put together a puzzle with your patient, and when you are finished, you would say, "Okay, clean up," and have the child help you put the pieces back in the box. You should strive to develop that relationship, and it may not be perfect right away. But as you work over time with them, the patient will know what to expect from you and will know that it is important that they help you. And remember to use reinforcement during this time. Give them that high five or good job for helping clean up. Breaks. Breaks are a good opportunity for you to set up your next program or activity. For every hour as an RBT, for every 3.5 hours worked, you should take one 10-minute break. If your work period is longer than 5 hours, you must take a 30-minute meal break. These Learning Arts specific guidelines, as far as breaks and stuff, will be gone over in an HR presentation with you. During the breaks for the child, the patient who should get one 10-minute break per hour, you can start transferring data back into the binder or get the next programs ready. So here are just some review things for acting professionally. The parent or caretaker should be in the home at all times. Do not give the child or parent a ride in your car. Do not give money or borrow money. Do not change diapers unless you're at the clinic. Do not work together with the family outside of work. Do not enter early. Do not stay late. And don't give your phone number to a client. Now let's talk about feedback. A key part of the evaluation process is being able to receive feedback. Staff trainers, analysts, and specialists will provide critiques of how you run your shift or a portion of it. These critiques are never aimed at being destructive. They are designed to be constructive. You should work on improving those areas that you're lacking in and maintain the areas that you're proficient in. As you improve, the analysts and specialists will work with you, and you will receive further evaluations. Again, I want to make sure to mention that we strive to make this feedback constructive. Remember, we're all working as a team. As an RBT, you'll be asked to respond appropriately to feedback. Ask questions. Have the specialist or analyst model what they're talking about for you. Whatever it takes to improve that area. Remember, we're not expecting anyone to be perfect or even close to it right out of the gate. We recognize that ABA and running these interventions takes a lot of practice. And as supervisors, we're here to help. In that way, we should communicate with our supervisor. Be professional. Only contact your supervisor for work-related things. Streamline the important information. And what I mean by that is if it can be written in 3 sentences, don't take 10 sentences to write it. Do 3 sentences. Pay attention to what your supervisor tells you and ask questions. Communicate what you need for the patient binder, your questions about program, and family changes. Use the appropriate methods: email, phone, text, video chat. All those methods are okay, but before using them, you should consider how much you have to discuss. For example, if it's a major thing, you wouldn't try to discuss it in a text. You should either phone or email the person. If it's something that you need modeled for you or shown how to do it, use video chat. There will also be monthly team meetings where you can ask questions. Report changes to the specialist. Changes that happen with the family. Illness of the patient or family. Relocation of family. Changes in medication or other therapies, or other major schedule changes. Now, the family should also be communicating these with the specialist, but if you know about them, make sure that you tell the specialist as well. It's better to have more information than not enough. You will also be training parents or other professionals. There may be a time when you might have to help train family members, caregivers, and other professionals on the skills that you are working on with your patient. Parents, teachers, nannies, etc. will need to know how to implement the procedures we use if our therapy is going to be truly effective. Remember, we can't always be there. You'll be asked by the specialist or analyst. You'll be told if there's going to be someone extra that day, and that you may have to model for them what you're doing. At that point, we're not expecting you to show them everything, but just to do what you normally would do, and have them observe you. For parent training, the specialist will go over what you need to do with the parents. Here are some of the other professionals that you may see that may come observe you, or that you may have to basically model for what you're doing. Teachers, respite workers, school aides, or other therapists. Again, we're not saying you have to be 100%, you're the person that has to train these people. But what we are saying is that they may come observe you, and you must and should be able to model for them what you're doing. You may have to model a procedure. You may have to explain ABA concepts in terms that the parent or professional can understand. This is a good thing to practice, being able to understand in lay terms what reinforcement and ABCs and stuff are. You may have to prompt, give verbal reminders, or verbally guide the parent or professional through the procedures. Make sure never to touch them though, no physical prompting. You should also model what they are supposed to do. It's usually best to start by showing them what they need to do. Be honest and true to apply behavior analysis. If you don't know an answer to a question, that's okay. Tell them so. It's better to refer them to the analyst or the specialist than to give incorrect information. This is a good skill to practice as a professional, because no one is expecting you to know everything. There are several times when I say that I will get back to a person and go look it up or research it. And remember, through all this, you should be communicating with the specialist or analyst about what's going on. And always be courteous and respectful. Remember, for parents, this is in their home, it's their child, and it's their rules. And for other professionals, we need to maintain a harmonious relationship with them. Remember, no one's working against each other. We're all working for the patient. So, what are some things that we should do when training parents or other professionals? We should be patient. Remember, we don't expect them to pick up what you're teaching them right away. You're receiving some training for ABA, and they most likely have not. If they're doing a good job, reinforce them. Remember, ABA techniques such as reinforcement work across populations. Even if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, tell them good job for trying and for attempting to work with the patient. The point being, though, is that you should provide feedback for them. Again, I don't want anyone to get super nervous about this. This doesn't happen a whole lot, and most likely the specialist or analyst will be there to help you. We're just saying this because it is part of the RBT task list, which is assisting with the training of stakeholders. Because remember, you are the one working one-on-one with that person, with the patient. You're going to know them the best, and it's best to be able to model for other people what you're doing.